Welcome back to the channel, guys. I know lately we've been doing a lot with the E90 M3s, single turbo N54, of course the Queen here. But today, we're mixing it up a little bit. The E92 M3. This is a customer E92 M3. As a lot of you probably know, it's got the S65, the naturally aspirated V8, which is very similar to the S85 V10. There are some differences to it, but we'll talk about that in a different video. We'll be doing a few different DIYs with this car, starting with the iDrive. Recently, we made a video on putting CarPlay in this car. It's the cheapest one that's available on Amazon. Show it to you. And this screen we put in is all touchscreen, so you can still push original car and go back to the original CCC iDrive setup if you want to. You need to look at vehicle information, check control messages, etc. As you guys can see, it's a lot more modern look. The updated screen, a lot better resolution. And this screen we're going to put in to the M3. We've been told it has the same software as the screen that's available for the E90 M5, even though the size might be a little bit different. So this will be a good opportunity to test the screen out, see if we like that, because probably gonna have to replace the one in that M5 there, but let's get started. So there's already a lot of videos on YouTube about doing this step by step, so probably not gonna go full blown. It's gonna be more of like a review, a little bit of tips and tricks along the way. So let's get started. So for this M5, we use the Avin, I don't know how you pronounce it. Like I said, cheapest one on Amazon for the E90 M5. We're gonna go level up for the E92 M3 here with so we'll do all the unboxing for that here in a second. First, let's get the old one out. We've already verified that the part is correct, so always do that before you get too invested in a project. Make sure you got the right parts. Save yourself some time and heartbreak. First step's gonna be removing this trim piece here. So using this non-marring tool. Use a non-marring tool. I'm gonna pop it out. And then there's little pins across the trim piece here, so just gonna carefully try and wiggle. Alright, now that we have the trim piece loose, we can move on to the next step. And here's where we find the first of a few differences. So the start-stop button is on this trim piece on an E90 and E92. On the E60, and particularly the E90 M5, start-stop button is not on the trim piece. So we're gonna have to disconnect that. And you can see under here, there's the connector with a little ribbon on it. You just push both sides. It unclips very easily. There's little clips on the side there. Still, we're connected in the middle. So, on the E90, this is just a hazard switch that looks like this. It has metal clips on each side. You just squeeze them. You can push the hazard switch and the unlock button out, disconnect it, and the trim piece is free. On the E92 M3 here, don't have any metal clips to push. We do have an electrical connector under there. So we're just gonna disconnect that with the help of a little pocket screwdriver. All right, so you can kind of see here with the first connector undone, there's a second. Allows you enough room to be able to see it. And with the second connector undone, the center trim piece comes out. Now we're starting to gain more access. So on an E90, to get the HVAC out here, you would have a couple screws you can undo. This just pulls out. You can put your non-marring tool right here and pop it, and then HVAC controller comes out. You can disconnect the electrical connectors on the back. They only go in one way, so you don't have to be worried about that, but if you are, you can take pictures of it. That always helps. These are the cam style connectors. We've gone over it before, but in case you're new, push the middle in here and rotate the back. there, and kind of just cams in and out. So when you put it in, have it like that, and then as it goes in, it'll cam and hold it tight, kind of like on an ignition coil on the BMWs. All right, so on this connector, much like the one for the ignition up here, the ribbon style one, be careful with it. Plastic tab on each side here. Use your non-marring tool and like a little pocket screwdriver or anything. Be careful with this, it does have the soft touch material on it. Now that the HVAC controller is out of the way, we can get the T20 bolt there and behind this ribbon there. Be careful again with this. It's gonna have to come out of the way anyway, so just gonna carefully slide it through here. So when we undo the bolt that's inside there, we're not damaging that. Next, we're gonna be pulling this piece out. Before you do that, make sure you know which connector goes where, because it's possible to have these up here and vice versa, and it'll be an issue. So just remember, these ones go through the middle here. And then I like to pry it down here with the non-marring tool. Be careful because the dash on each side's kind of fragile. It'll snap off. If you get a spot like this where you can tell there's a lot of tension just from pulling on it, got a lot of tension right there. So be careful on that, because if you go too hard, you can definitely snap it. Hold out like this where there's the tension, then carefully put the non-marring tool in. Kind of try to wiggle it out to get a little bit more until it's in there, and then go up to the top, and then boom. Again with the ribbon. Be careful there. Set that to the side. Now we have access to the rest of the bolts here and there. So just get those out real quick. Now that we have that out of the way, we can do the 4 screws here and here. These are just Phillips, so. All right, with those 4 screws removed, we can pull it out here. All right, with the CCC pulled out, we can disconnect all these electrical connectors on the back of it. Starting with this one. Just pushing on the tab, pull back. Sometimes this part of the connector will come off, or I'll have this whole piece come off here. So just push right there, gently pull back. Same thing with the black connector up here. Then this here, same sort of deal, just wiggle it a little bit back and forth while having tension pulling it out. Disconnected. And we have the connector for the fan. And the fan can also just come off that way, using these tabs and twists. It's one way to do it. All right, so now we have the most important connector here. This is the one that has the fiber optic in it, that green wire there. So on this one, it's kind of a cam style, but different than the others. So you see how there's a piece here, and a separate piece there. Squeeze the two together. Cams right out. No problem. Now the CCC is removed. All right, with all the components removed, we have access to all the connectors, especially this one here. We can go see what we're gonna replace this with. Yummy. All right, so here, putting it in. All right, so here's the contents of the kit we got. There are quite a few options when you go to their website on it. You can go as far as having the digital TV tuner, tire pressure monitoring, front cameras, back cameras, trunk mounted backup camera is an option. There's a lot. This is a kind of middle of the road option for it. So it has CarPlay. This is 28 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM on it. This is definitely gonna be an upgrade from the factory CCC unit. They also make it if you have the mask system. So far, I'm very impressed with the options compared to other brands that we've tried so far. It's also the same hardware and software for the E90 M3. So it fits in perfectly with our testing, and we didn't get any type of deal on it from Avin. So it's just something that a customer wanted us to install, and happened to be perfect timing. All right, so we have the wires routed up to the screen right through here. Obviously that's where the screen came out of. where this one's going to go back into, and then coming down through here to the CCC, and then we do have stuff going to the glove box we'll get to in a second. But now it's time to install the screen. Here's how the connectors are set up. We can't get this one in until we get further into the little cubby hole here. We'll connect it as we're putting it in. Got it connected. I'm gonna try to get some of these wires tucked back in here. Ones that we're not using, like for the backup camera and such. But it does appear the screen is working. All right, the screen is installed. I know it may look like it's the original BMW menu, but push it, and now we're in the aftermarket world. We just came from car info right here. So we go to dashboard, click that button. We can see mile per hour and RPM. And it is live data. And then one cool feature about this screen compared to the one we put into the Queen, for instance, our E90 M3, push the menu button, and it takes you to the actual menu. So the button for the vehicle does work for the screen also, fully integrated. So you get navigation here through Google, and then phone to connect to, and then on the application portion of it, this is where it's important for somebody that's into doing performance things. And basically, if you have access to the internet, a lot of times you can download whatever apps run off the operating system that the screen is set for. So in this case, since it's Google, which would be like an Android operating system, we can run things like MHD through it. So if you have a single turbo car or even a naturally aspirated car, you can run MHD and see even more data. You'll be able to download multiple different apps that are available in the Google Android App Store. So if we push menu one more time, and once we slide over, we can see there are even more options to go through. For instance, for music, HD video, browser, settings here. We can go through and change quite a few different things besides date and time, which reminds me we do need to change the time on it. So we'll go off of car time here, do 12 hour, go back, and I'll say the actual time. So overall, this is a pretty sweet setup. I like all of the available options for it, as far as you can customize it to have navigation or not if you don't, so you're not paying for features you're not going to use. You can add more features than you're ever going to use anyway, at least on a regular basis. But overall, very impressed with this screen over the very cheap option we got off of Amazon. I put in the E90 M3, the one for the M3 here. Oh, even the iDrive knob works. That is definitely a nice feature. So all right, this is our number one pick for E6X and E9X M cars. Definitely the best screen we've done so far, and we will be doing more of them. But the fact that you can use the iDrive knob and menu button on here, and that you can have access to the internet and all sorts of different apps that are available, definitely make it the number one spot. This whole gauges feature is just a really amazing bonus. But every M car owner gets nervous with that one. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have a screen you'd like us to review, let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe.